Welcome to Man on the Mic, a place for honest conversations about faith, fitness, family, business, and becoming the person you're called to be. Here, we slow down, ask better questions, and talk with people who are building meaningful lives from the inside out. My hope is simple, that something you hear today gives you clarity, courage, and the push to take your next step. Let's dive in. Welcome everybody back to another episode of Man on the Mic. Super excited today to jump in and to talk business, to talk sales, to talk relationships, and to talk faith with my man, Kaysen Stevens. Real quick, I'm going to throw it over to you and let you introduce yourself to everybody.
Okay. My name's Kaysen Stevens. I grew up in Spanish Fork, Utah. I have 4 brothers. I'm right in the middle. And I do door-to-door sales. I sell solar panels and I run a sales team. I also turned a school bus to a thrift store and we drove it across the country, and did multiple 6 figures in like 4 months. So
awesome. Well, thank you for joining. And, this podcast is a little different. I like to just have conversations.
Yeah.
And wherever the conversation takes us, we go with it.
Let's go. I love it.
Also, nothing's off limits, so let's let it rip.
Okay. Wow.
You were the number 1 rep at your company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super curious diving in. What did that win? What did that teach you?
It taught me that, that's kind of a loaded question. I mean, focusing on one thing and just going all in on it and just shutting everything out, and that a lot of the times doing something outstanding takes so much sacrifice in other areas of your life, like when it comes to going to the gym or even staying aligned spiritually. It's something that's super important, but sometimes you just don't have as much time for some things like family, like exercise, when you're looking to do something great and actually be number 1 at something. So it really taught me that imbalance really isn't a bad thing. It's something that's necessary to get where you want to go, because everyone wants the thing, but they don't realize what it actually takes. And so they want the balance and they want the money and they want everything, but it really just taught me that that's just not possible.
Yeah.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah. So. No, I love that. I want to dive a little bit deeper into that because I'm super curious with you and the way that you operate. How did faith play a role into that?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's kind of what brought me closer to Christ, because there was a point where I've grown up in the church and I've never been super religious and super close to Christ. And that summer was rock bottom. There was a night where I just broke down in tears because I'm I didn't have a spiritual foundation. I was almost chasing all these things that were the worldly things, the money, the lust, all this other stuff. And there's a night where I just it just all hit me and I'm this is way too much. I can't do this. And this is a whole nother story, but that's the night I decided I was going to go on a mission.
Let's talk about that night. Take us to that night.
So that's I guess that's where the thought was born. That's not when I decided, but crazy experience. I'd never thought about it before. It's always just been something hey, I'm going to focus on business. I can be a spiritual person while I do all this stuff. And then I had that. And the next week, my buddy asked me, he was going on a mission. He was out selling with us. And why have you never gone on a mission? I'm classic answer. It's just not my thing. I have all this here. I want to focus on this. This is my path. And then I continued to tell him why going on a mission is going to be such a good thing and it's going to bless him and the sacrifice is worth it. And so I was that was kind of hypocritical, but whatever. I just went on with my day. I didn't really think about it much. And we're doing weekly planning as managers. And one of my buddies is talking about his mission and just the systems of the church and how it really is just the most successful door-to-door business ever. Yeah. And just how much he learned, not only about God and the church, but about how to work with people and run an organization. And so there was a moment where my heart just dropped. And this is never something I've actually considered before, going on a mission. And at that point, I just had this overwhelming feeling. I'm gosh, should I serve a mission? And then it was weird. I had this thought, like meeting was over. I didn't really listen to any of the meeting because I was just like zoned out, just like, thoughts going through my head. And then if we got into the elevator to go down and the thought popped into my head and I was with my buddy Logan and I was like, if he mentions something about me going on a mission, like I'm going to do it. And then he like immediately asked me like, why did you go on a mission? And then at that point I was like, okay, I'm going. And that night I was like, I had so much feelings and I wanted to talk about it all or like journal it, but I'm like, there's no way that's going to get it out all in my hand. So I set up my phone and I did this like 20-minute audio recording. I just broke down crying. And like, that was the turning point for me in spirituality. Like, long story short, that's when I just realized like the fulfillment and just like what part God plays in my life. And that's when I had the actual change of heart. Because I've been in the church, I've said my prayers, I read my scriptures, but that's when I actually realized, like, how important he is and like what role he plays in my life. So
where'd you end up going on a mission to?
I actually didn't go.
Okay.
That's another long story.
Okay,
but
let's dive into it. Let's go.
So this is pretty recently. I was actually supposed to leave this year, June 23rd.
Okay.
And this was probably even harder than deciding on going on a mission because I was so set on going. It was like, I'm doing it. There's nothing that can stop me. I was like, I don't want to be that person that says they're going to go and then doesn't go or like comes home early or something. I'm like, I'm doing it 100%. And so I prepare. I've never felt closer to Christ. I'm like doing all the right things. It just feels so good. And I think it was like a month and a half before I was supposed to leave. I just got my call. I was like getting ready to go. I was getting ready to go get like my missionary haircut and everything. And we were actually at Flow House, the sauna, at their opening event. And somebody asked me a question. I don't remember what it was, but I had the exact same feeling where in that meeting with my managers where my heart just dropped. And I was like, I had this like overwhelming feeling that I was supposed to stay. And it confused the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, everyone goes like a mission. That's the right thing. That's like every able young man. And there's still a part of me, and I don't think this will ever go away, that is like, was that like actual, like, was that God telling me? Because it's just like, that's just always going to be in the back of my head just because it's like everyone's supposed to go on a mission. But I really truly felt, and for like a month, I was like wrestling over it. I'm like, it feels like the right thing to stay, but like I thought the right thing was to go. And so for like a month, like it got to a point where like it physically hurt, and like I was like laying in bed for like a couple days, like maybe even a week, just like doing nothing because I just was tossing like back and forth. And then I decided that, I want to stay. And, the sales team that I'm leading, it really helped me change my motive for doing sales, where I want to give people a space that they can come, like everyone, sales is like money and everything, but I want to give them to a space where they can get introduced to the church and like build every pillar of their life, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And so that's when I feel called to doing that, is like my purpose and my mission. Just because I'm so close with these guys, and I can create a setting outside of a traditional mission where people feel like they're doing missionary work, right? So
how do you cope with that pressure of being in Utah and people telling you, hey, you're young, you need to go on a mission? How do you deal with that constantly being thrown at you?
I don't mind it very much. Like a lot of people, I don't know. I grew up always posting on social media, so I learned at an early age not to care what people think.
Yeah.
I wasn't bullied in high school, but I was like lightly teased a lot. And I was always like the butt end of the joke. So
You at Spanish Fork or Maple Mountain?
Maple Mountain.
Okay.
So I was always, people are always like making fun, because I was posting videos, like if you're posting videos that are doing well, everybody knows about you and they're like gonna make fun of you. So I kind of learned to do that early on. So now I just it doesn't really mean.
When did you graduate?
23.
You ever take Lake's class?
I played on the team for a little bit, but I tore my ACL and didn't have good enough grades.
When I was there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did we meet while I was there?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Actually?
Yeah.
Where?
At football, at like practice. I was like, I was the most low key player though. I just, cause I had bad grades and I was always injured. So I was probably just injured.
Oh, you're one of those kids that stood on the sideline.
Hey, but I was good. I played like 2 games and I had like a couple touchdowns, a couple 100 yards.
What was the record your senior year?
It was terrible. I don't even know. I wasn't playing though because I tore my ACL. So I played my junior year, but
Interesting.
yeah.
It's such a small world. I'm getting old. That's the case. Jeez. I'm curious. What got you started, I guess, on social media at a young age?
I don't know. I mean, my brother, I think it started with videography because my brother's a photographer, videographer.
Okay.
And so I started making cool videos and just like posting them on YouTube. And I started vlogging with like me and my buddies. And my parents are entrepreneurs and they've like ingrained that mindset into me. It just like the world is your oyster. Like do whatever you want. And I think I saw just like the freedom that social media gave some people. And I've always liked attention since I was a kid. So I just started posting videos of me converting my school bus.
Okay.
And it went big. And at that point I was just hooked. And I'm like, this is fun. I like posting content. I see like the freedom and the leverage that it provides people, and like the why I do it has like evolved over time. But at first it was just like, I like attention and I want a lot of money. So
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
I'm curious then. So if we take your love of social media and that attention, but we also take your journey with faith and wanting to inspire people, bring them closer to God, do you feel comfortable talking about your faith on social media, or has that been something you've had to get comfortable with?
I'm completely comfortable doing it. I get so it's so easy to get distracted. And that's like I post a couple things here and there, but I do want to post more about it because that's why I do it. Like that's what I want to share, and that's why I want to grow my platform. And that it's something that I want to do, but I need to. I just haven't.
And why haven't you? What's stopping you?
Like I said, it's just not like my number one. Like I'm so focused. How do I explain this? I'm more so focused like growing spiritually personally and like working with my guys, and like posting on social media is honestly like last priority.
Yeah.
I have a team that like does all my stuff, and I just like go out for a couple hours, record a bunch of videos, send it to them. So I'm not really like posting full time. I don't even have social media on my phone. So it's not really my number one focus right now. It's just like working on myself and my team.
Yeah.
But I do want to get to a point where I have like the time freedom to be able to like create videos and post more about it. So
I like that process of working on yourself. I spent the last year, I joined like a men's coaching group, and I hired a life coach and a spiritual coach and all these different things. I call it my dream team because they're my people that help me, I can reach out to. They push me, they challenge me. What are the keys that you've done to work on yourself?
I think a huge thing is just like deleting. I took social media off my phone because it is like the number one distractor.
Yeah.
I freaking hate it. Like it's such a tool, but it's so.
Once you start scrolling.
Oh yeah, it just fries your brain.
Yeah.
Like nothing, if you're stuck scrolling every day, everything's so much harder to do. It's harder to get out of bed. Like you're not spending your time efficiently. And I think it's so mainly like everyone uses it, but nobody realizes how like detrimental it is. Yeah. And so that's one of the number one things is just hopping off social media and limiting it. Like I have one of those brick things where I'll brick my phone and then I'll like throw the brick away because you can't like unbrick it until you tap it on it. So
interesting.
That's been one of the things is just like focusing more on myself.
Yeah.
In that sense. And then just staying consistent with things like scripture, prayer. Like I'm huge on routine. I just love doing the same thing every day. So just like staying consistent with that and actually being intentional with time instead of like quantity of time spent on one thing. I really focus on quality of time.
Okay.
I love time blocking. So.
Okay. What does you go to bed, you wake up the next day. What does your morning routine look like?
I wake up, make my bed, prayer, scripture right out of bed, go to the gym, shower, And then it depends on, sometimes I read, and I do a breath work. And then I have this personal, forget what I call it, personal declaration of just like, my name's Kaysen Stevens. I was put on this earth to do this. This is what I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to do. I read that in the mirror. And then I eat breakfast. And at that point, it's just like meetings and everything.
Okay.
But go to bed, pretty simple. I just clean my room, review the day, things that I'm going to do tomorrow that are effective, scripture, prayer, and then I usually read and fall asleep reading. So
Love that. How do you balance being so successful at a young age and having these young guys who look to you for mentorship?
what do you mean? Like,
So being the age that you are and being successful,
mm-hmm.
I'm sure you get a lot of people, are you really that successful? Is he just saying it because it's social media and you're trying to recruit? Balancing that and then saying, hey, this is who I am. Here's how I've gotten to this point, and getting young kids to trust you.
I think I've gotten, like, so some people have told me this before, and I don't think that's really been an issue for me because I've learned to be so authentic on social media. People that meet me in person are like, dude, you're exactly what I thought you'd be like. And I think that authenticity, like just not caring what people think and just like posting myself, it shows a lot because there are a lot of fake people out there. And people have just told me that they can just tell. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't think I can pinpoint it very well, but I just like, think it's just the fact that I'm able to be myself on camera and just like say what I want to say and do what I want to do just naturally just builds trust and like almost a relationship. So
Okay. Your business did about what, 500K, and then you lost it.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Oh man, we could talk about this for hours, but I mean, it was the best 6 months of my entire life, but it was so hard because I had no clue what I was doing. Like, it's not really like some crazy thing that happened. We just didn't know how to spend our money just because we were having, okay, so we started out and we were pretty small, started blowing up on social media, and we had a bunch of people calling us out to Idaho, our bus. And so we invested in a bunch of clothes and took a tour to Idaho for like the 5 most popular cities. And it was like insane. The last event had literally thousands of kids there. People were asking me to sign stuff for no reason. I'm like, I'm just a kid with a bus from Utah, and they're like throwing their shoes at me to sign. And so I think our issue was we had that one event where everything just like blew up and it was like, oh my gosh, we like made it. Like, this is how everything's going to be.
Yeah.
And we over leveraged ourselves with like investing in clothes, investing in employees. And then we took a tour to California and it just pooped. Like, we didn't know what we were doing marketing wise, like what to spend our money in. And so I really learned just to be intentional. But I mean, it ended up doing numbers in like Oregon and Colorado. It was really hard to find consistency, especially with thrifting.
Yeah.
Because there's no quality control and just marketing.
Okay.
Are huge issues. But
Where did this idea, I guess, to convert a bus into a store, where did that come from?
it evolved over time because it never was like, I'm going to buy a bus and turn it into a thrift store. It's like middle school, me and my friends were talking and we're like, oh, let's live together when we're older, like, dreaming up as kids. And I was like, let's buy a bus. And they were like, no, that's dumb. And so I was like, okay. And I thought about it. I was like, okay, I want to do it. So I bought a bus, and the goal was to turn it into an RV or like a hangout spot. And then it kind of sat there for a second throughout high school. I had different ideas with it. We'd watch movies in it, as like projector movies as kids, and hang out. And then it came to like almost the end of high school, and I was like, I've always wanted to own a clothing business, and I don't have the money for a brick and mortar, but I have this bus sitting in my backyard. So I was like, I'm just going to throw up some clothes and like do this after school. So I just go in there and do homework, and then it blew up on social media, and it just like kind of carried itself. It never really was like, hey, let's turn a bus into a thrift store.
Okay. If someone's watching or listening to this, how do they find the bus? How do they?
Instagram.
Okay.
Not a thrift store with 2 E's at the end, on Instagram and TikTok. So.
And what is your plans to expand to more buses or brick and mortar, or what's your I guess what's your game plan for 2026?
So this is the tough thing because I wanted to do something next year where solar takes up so much of my time, and I really really want to take the bus and like brand it with a purpose because I know a lot of people in my life that struggle with mental health, and it is just the like most frustrating thing because I mean, I feel like I've been blessed with a good life. I've never been depressed or anything. And I want to share that with other people because I see these people going through it and I'm like, you don't have to go through that. Like there are ways to get out of this. And so I really want to take that. We started a campaign called You Can Sit By Me.
Okay.
And the the long-term goal, some point in my life, I don't know when this is just because I'm so like there's a lot going on right now and I still don't know when this is going to be, but I do want to get more buses, but almost have these warehouses, like buy buses, tour the country, do that thing, build a super strong brand to the point where we can build these warehouses where kids can come hang out and actually like connect with each other, where we do like arts classes, skateboarding. There's like a library. We'll have the bus in there for people to like shop. There's drinks. Almost like a mini, just like where parents can buy their kids like memberships and they can just come and like connect with people, actually learn how to not be depressed and like how to manage their emotions and like find people in their community that they can hang out with and connect with and like just bringing back connection because everyone's on their phones and nobody knows how to talk to each other.
Yeah.
So me and my brother are working on something like that for the future, and he called it like curing the loneliness epidemic.
I
So,
love that. I'm curious. I want to dig into the why because, you make good money and you could choose to buy sports cars and a nice house and travel and see the world. And you said you're not depressed yourself. So I'm super curious as what's the why behind mission?
I mean, I just feel like I almost feel guilty for being like for having these opportunities because I just see people out there that don't, and it just like eats me. It's like, dude, it's hard to like have like be happy, make good money, and like see other people not doing it. I just feel like I get a lot of fulfillment from that. Um, and just like seeing the pain that it's brought people in my life. Like, I mean, I had a buddy in high school who committed suicide, and
I remember that.
yeah, and so it's like, yeah, I just want to help people see like there's so much more to life. Like you don't have to, yeah. So,
No, you're right. I remember um it was I had interviewed for a job and I had gone to meet the team and I was at an event to meet with like the CEO, the executive director, and I'm sitting there. I went through one interview, I went back out. It was between me and this other girl, and I got a text that the kid had committed suicide.
mm-hmm,
And they're like, "Hey, we're all going to the football field."
mm-hmm,
And in my head I'm like, I need this job
mm-hmm,
or my truck's gonna get repoed.
mm-hmm.
Or do I show up for my kids? And it was the hardest dilemma. And I just picked up. I didn't say anything to them. I picked up and I left and I went to the field. And that, I tell you what, as a coach, that is one of the hardest things to cope with because you're feeling all these emotions and pain, but you have to be strong because the kids are suffering.
Yeah.
And so you don't want them to see that. But that was for me, a beautiful moment to have all of the team and community rally together. And for me, I'm glad that I showed up that Monday. I still got the job offer and got everything, and it went well. And I'm
Mm-hmm,
glad I trusted that prompting to go in to show up.
mm-hmm,
Um, yeah, mental health is tough, especially here in Utah.
mm-hmm.
A lot of kids are dealing with it, and so I applaud your movement
Thank you.
and your desire to do that. And any way I can support you, let me know.
Well, thank
I
you.
I want to ask you from high school to now, when you look at your life or your story, what is the biggest part of your story that I guess people either misunderstand, they don't get?
That I'm literally just a dude from Spanish Fork. Like, and I don't say this to like toot my own horn, but a lot of people ask me, they're like, how are you so like successful? Or like, and this is the thing for a lot of successful people. they just think like, oh, they're born with it. But I was like, used to do everything that like normal kids do.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not something insane to be successful.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. And it just takes like a switch of like frame to, yeah, a lot of people think like it's nothing crazy to be like super successful. Like I'm just a normal kid. I just like really want something really bad and that's it.
If you had to give 3 tips to someone to get on that mindset or to get into that structure, what would you give them?
I would say number 1, change your mindset in the sense that you have to realize that it isn't that hard. You have to internalize that. And you have to be able to visualize yourself and associate yourself with success, like as an identity. I feel like that's something that's helped me out a lot. Just like thinking of myself as a successful person. You have to like switch your frame of mind that like you're a successful person, you deserve it. And just like have that as an identity that just you're a high performer. Another thing is just gratitude and focusing on like positive things and abundance, because when you're focusing on the lack of, the easiest things seem so hard.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's like, oh, it's going to take years to be successful, or this is going to take forever. But if you're focused on the right things and like the good in your life and all the wins that you're having, even if everything's going wrong, then it becomes so easy to just be like, I can do this. Like, this is great. Everything's going to work out. Worst case scenario, I have to live with my parents again.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not that bad. So, I'd say that, and just eliminating distractions. I don't think a lot of people associate with like laziness and like lack of ambition when they're just not focused and aligned.
Yeah.
They're distracted by things like social media and the like video games, or like these things of what's it called? Instant gratification. But when you take a step back, you eliminate those things and you actually focus and you open up room for a question and ask yourself like, hey, what do I really want? And like you look far into the future and you take an eternal perspective, which is one thing President Nelson said that I really love. But you just take like a bird's eye view, eliminate all these distractions. Like there's unlimited fuel and ambition at that point, where you can like actually see your entire life and what you want it to be, and you don't have these things weighing down on you and like distracting you. It's like that has helped me immensely, because I feel like I just have energy all the time and I'm super excited and just like ready to go, because I've like intentionally eliminated all these distractions. So that's probably the third thing I'd say.
I love that. Thank you. What was your process of getting to where you're at? Did you look to have any mentors or people that had gone through that path already that you reached out to and said, how do I get to where you're at?
This is where I feel like I was super blessed, because right out of high school, my brother went selling solar while I was in high school, and he was making great money. And even in high school, I went out on blitzes. And so right out of high school, I was just put in this group of people that are so ambitious and that are so disciplined and are everything that I wanted to be. So I got put in an organization that had those people and those mentors right off the bat, and have showed me the way and have helped me get to where I want to be. So it's like, I wasn't really looking for that. I just got handed it, and it's blessed my life immensely. And there's so many people I'm surrounded by right now that like I literally would attribute everything to, just because they're such amazing people and they've showed me like how to live my life. So
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. I always say, find the people that have the recipe and then follow the recipe.
yeah.
And it gets you to the end product.
Yeah.
So many times we want to deviate or change it up. And when the end product is not what we think, it's like, well, you could have followed the recipe. It's right in front of your face.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just lean in and trust the process, and sometimes you're not going to have success overnight. Sometimes it takes time.
Yeah.
But committing to that process of constantly working at that recipe, you'll get there eventually.
Oh, yeah.
There are hundreds of door-to-door companies and solar companies. So if I'm a kid who wants to go and sell, go and knock, why am I going with you?
That's a great question. And the first thing I'll say Our goal is to create almost like a personal development boot camp, or like personal development factory where kids can just come in and, like I said, like transform themselves. So yes, you'll make great money. There probably are other companies that will pay you more. So if it's just for the money, I wouldn't say to come out with us. But we hold devotionals we're holding devotionals every Wednesday night. We go to church together. We work out in the mornings together. We have book clubs. We all read together. We grow together, and it's a brotherhood. Like, there's the closest thing to football, like sports, that I've ever had, where it's like the people around you will literally take a bullet for you.
Yeah.
And that, like, that is why kin. And there's so many other reasons. They're very integral, very transparent. The people are amazing. You do get paid great. Reliable operations. Things get installed on time, get paid out quickly. But the number one thing is just the people that are a part of the organization. Like, I tell people all the time, I would do it for free. Like, I would work that job for free because of there's so much information and principles about life that I've learned. It's like a personal development course that we could charge thousands and thousands of dollars for, and I'm getting paid to take the course and transform myself into a successful being. And so it's like, come get paid to transform yourself into somebody that can fire on all cylinders, like in every avenue of their life.
I think that's huge. That's huge. Okay, guys, you heard him. If you want to change your life,
Ken
you're gonna
Home.
make the most money, but hit him up on social media.
You'll still make great money. But yeah, you'll grow as a person. Ken Home to the moon.
I like that because most people who know me will tell you I hate. I mean, I say hate. Hate's too strong.
Mm-hmm.
I dislike the door-to-door industry.
Yeah.
But it's because I've met so many kids who are in that culture of just come make money and look at my fancy car. I remember I was playing basketball with some buddies and a kid was telling us, you should come out and sell, make all this money. And then I'm like, well, show us your paycheck, not your boss's, because he kept showing us his boss's paychecks. And I'm like, we want to see yours. Then we get outside and he's waiting for a ride and he's like, well, I don't own a car. And I'm like, okay, you're telling us we're going to make this amount of money.
Yeah.
You can't even buy a $3,000 beater. Something doesn't line up here.
Yeah.
And so I've had to really push myself as I've met good people in the door-to-door space. And that's the hard thing is you get one bad apple and it sometimes can ruin the whole tree.
Dude, and it's so, there's a very low barrier to entry and the return is like exponential. So anybody can come in and just like corrupt the industry. And I feel like that's why there's so many bad apples.
Yeah.
It's because it really doesn't take that much to be successful in door to door.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it. Then the people get greedy. And so it's hard to find like a good company or like good leaders to be surrounded by. Like that's very rare. And so that's where you hear those stories of like just the shallow, like come make a bunch of money, buy this car. Like, and that's what we're looking to change. But
have you been to the same company the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't had that instinct of going off and doing your own company?
No. Yeah. I'll be honest. I've seen the amount of work it takes, and I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Fair enough. Having just started a company, I can tell you.
Oh yeah.
If you want to be able to sleep and eat, don't dive into that business.
It's insane. Yeah, it's. Oh, what company did you start?
So I just started a digital marketing company.
Okay.
And I've always worked for other agencies, influencers in-house. Mm-hmm. And finally I said, I keep building other people's companies. I brought in a client to a company last year and we did probably $1 million project, did a documentary. It had 28 million views and it was a great project. Worked with the White House, did an interview with Tucker Carlson. Huge project, but it's like, it wasn't something I could call my own. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's like, I want to be able to create something my own that I build that lasts forever, but also be able to help like smaller people just trying to get a start in marketing. Because that one, I mean, not many people are going to have $1 million to spend on a project that huge.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do we create something for people just getting started or just want to get their foot in the door and get a taste if they like it or if they don't. And so that's kind of what the pivot was. And it's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a little stressful,
Yeah.
but I love the grind, and I already only sleep hour or two a night, and so
Yeah.
it lines up. It's perfect.
I feel that, man.
So
It's
I want to
amazing.
flip the script because clearly we've known each other for a few years,
Mm-hmm.
in different roles as a coach. I'm not responsible for the team's record. I just coached running backs. We ran the ball. That's all we did. We didn't give up 400 yards a night on defense.
Oh
It wasn't
man.
me.
Oh man. That's tough.
But I want to give you a chance to ask me a question.
I guess what fuels your ambition and what helps you stay on track?
I think Aiden was here when I first talked about this. Um, 2 years ago, 2 years ago or so, I went and bought my grave plot in Salt Lake City. But two, next to my grandparents. And I said to myself, I came home and I planned my funeral and got everything ready. And so I told myself, when it's time to go, I will be completely ready. I want to just live and be present
Yeah.
and be where my feet are. And so each day, I'm like, I'm going to live each day to the max and put effort and put everything into it because I don't know when the last day is.
Yeah.
And so my goal is, how do I leave a legacy? How do I leave something for my family? And I set a goal in high school is I wanted to impact 1 billion lives. I didn't know how, I didn't know why, I didn't know when I would do that, but just a goal I've had.
Mm-hmm.
And so each day, that's what I just try and do is just go out and have an impact.
Yeah.
And whether it's in business, whether it's in relationships, even my relationship with myself, my relationship with my God, just impact and serve.
Yeah.
And so, some people, sometimes they tell me I care too much. But it's just, I tell people I am who I am, or I'm not, I'll never be. And so as I've been comfortable with just being me, it allows me to show up for other people and try my best to make an impact.
Let's go.
And so that's kind of where my mindset is. I'm a little crazier than most. I don't rest. I'm constantly going. I started this morning at 5 a.m. with some work, played basketball for 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
turn around, shower, and jumping on some podcasts to have some discussions, because for me, it's how can I create value for other people?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's Jeff.
Let's go. What keeps you aligned to that? Because there's so many things these days that call like your attention and that call like your immediate gratification that'll slow you down. Like what keeps you on track?
This is probably not a good thing, but I've always been that person who's super stressed about what do people think?
Mm-hmm.
What are people saying?
Yeah.
And so in my mind, that's a constant factor that just keeps me driving and keeps me in my lane, because I shouldn't be, but I'm so worried about the person over here or the person over there. And so it just keeps me driving and focused and
Mm-hmm.
working. I think it's also about setting some goals.
Yeah.
And being able to, hey, if I'm going to get to my goals, here is the path to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, I would say is I've reached out and I've built my dream team.
Yeah.
And all of them in each area helps me. If I want to do like a fast with some prayer and meditation, I reach out to my spiritual coach and she helps guide me through that process. If, I'm thinking in my head, hey, I'm getting sick of doing social media this week, I reach out to my mentor in that space and he's, hey, do this, change this, pivot here.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's constantly having my team that I can rely on and hit up and say, here's my struggle today. What do I do? Or I'm feeling off.
Yeah.
And then I think lastly, it's being okay to be honest with yourself and say, hey, today's not a good day. I just need some time to myself.
Uh-huh.
And being able to admit it and be able to say, hey, let me take a step back. If I have to move meetings or something, today needs to be focused on me. And then I go all in on focusing on me and going to the root of that problem.
Mm-hmm.
I've always grown up with an anger issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always looked at it as a negative. It's bad to be angry. You're causing a scene. But then something switched in my head and it said, anger actually is teaching you something's triggering you. And so rather than focus on the negative, it's, okay, what is the trigger? Let's focus on that and let's solve that trigger. And so being able to tap into that course where I look and I say, hey, here's where I need to work and what I need to focus on, hone in on that, just go to work.
Wow.
Despite the pain, because personal work, and this is
Mm-hmm.
tough and it gets ugly and
Yeah.
it's hard to look at yourself in the mirror, but it's so much better in your life when you allow yourself to do that.
And I want to talk about two things because this is kind of like a topic in my life. I'm reading a book right now called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it talks about interdependence,
Okay.
where you're not there's dependence and there's independence, right? Independence is like I'm okay on my own, I can do it all by myself, like I'm independent of anybody else.
Okay.
Dependence is like I need other people to operate. I, am reliant on this circumstance or this person. And then there's interdependence, which is what you talked about with your team. I think is so important for people to understand is to be interdependent. Be
Okay.
independent with yourself, but recognize that you go further together, like with other people, and that it's okay to lean on other people, and that it's okay to ask for advice, and that it really is necessary to have a team. And
Yes.
to like, so many people try and do it by themselves and like reinvent the wheel and like do some crazy thing, but it's like you were saying, just the simple, consistent things over and over again with people that you can rely on, people that you can ask for advice. Like, I feel like interdependence is something that's not talked about a lot, but is so important. And that's why I feel like I've gone so far, is because I have, like you said, the team to
Yeah.
like rely on. And so, the other thing I wanted to touch on was just like what you talked about caring what other people think. I think because Tim Grover talks about this in his, I think it's Winning in his book. And he doesn't say it directly, but like successful people are just like so insecure. And I think this is a very controversial topic or a controversial take, but I think that if you have an insecurity, like instead of trying to solve it, like use it as fuel. Because all these successful people, like there's obviously something to prove there. Like Michael Jordan, like he didn't have to do all those things. He was proving to someone or someone because there was a lack of. And so I feel like a lot of people use their insecurities as bad things. It's like, I care what people think. It's like, no, use that to propel yourself. It's going to be hard because you care what people think, but use that to propel yourself to provide for your family,
Yes.
like the people around you. And so I recognize that in yourself. It's like that caring what people think isn't a bad thing. It's a tool that you can use to fuel the fire.
Yeah.
And to like propel yourself forward. That's something that I like believe pretty strongly. But
yeah, and it pushes me in every aspect, whether it's business, whether at the gym, and I can never be benching, and the kid next to me is benching more.
yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Even if I'm doing leg day and I see someone with a bench, I'm like, I'm gonna hit one set real quick. My shoulder hurts, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the type also, if I'm in pain, I'm pushing through the pain because
Mm-hmm.
I will not be defeated no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I want to wrap up this podcast by 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is, if someone out there has a ton of talent, but they feel invincible, what is your advice to that person?
Dang, that's a good question. Honestly, I'll be honest, I don't know if I have a good answer to that. Because I low-key feel like I'm invincible, so it's like...
Let's say you feel invincible,
Yeah.
you're rocking, you're rolling, your talents are flaring,
Mm-hmm.
and then something comes up. Or you run into a challenge. Or
Okay.
you hit that rock bottom, and you're like, maybe I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
You just got to keep believing that you're invincible. Like, just racking through my mind about, because like I was talking about at the beginning, like the identity, just having that identity of like abundance and just like successfulness. That's what's carried me so far, is like I don't believe I'm invincible, but it's like I believe that I can do great things, and that like not necessarily invincible, and that like nothing can happen to me. But when something bad happens or something goes wrong, it's just like, I guess, having a problem solver mindset and looking at obstacles as an opportunity, to where like God puts those things in your life for a reason, for you to learn something. And like 2 people can have the exact same problem. One will destroy the person and one will create the person. Right. So I'm thinking out loud here, but I think that viewing obstacles as the opportunity and just like immediately instead of dwelling and thinking like, oh, I thought I was invincible. What just happened? It's like, how do we solve this problem? What's next? Like having that identity of like, nothing can stop me, like you were saying. Like the pain's a good thing. Like the pain will help me grow, obviously to an extent, but looking at pain as progression and like that feeling that you're not invincible as another reason that you're going to prove that you are invincible. So
I love that, because I think so many times when we're in that state and we're like, nothing can go wrong, everything is amazing, if something happens, we dwell in that problem, dwell in that trial, rather than, okay, what can I learn? Let's get going. Okay, it's been 3 seconds. Let's keep moving.
Yeah.
Let's move on. How do I adjust? How do I pivot? But also accepting that, we're all humans at the end of the day. Save Jesus. None of us are perfect. And so it's okay to make mistakes. And you take a step back, take 3 steps forward, but keep trying to go forward. I want to paint a picture that it's a Monday evening and you have the opportunity to go to dinner with 3 people, dead or alive. I'm curious to who those 3 people would be and what are you guys eating?
Wow, that is a great question. I actually thought about this the other day and I couldn't think of anything, but number 1 would be God.
Okay.
Eating steak, obviously. I love steak. That would be a great dinner. Number 2, I'd say my dad.
Okay.
And we'd be eating salmon.
Okay.
I love salmon. He loves salmon. And the third person.
So keep in mind, all 3 of these people at dinner at the same time.
Okay. This is like completely out of left field. But Hitler.
You want to know what's crazy?
What?
That's one of the people I picked.
No way.
And every time people are like, what? And I want Hitler and I want Jesus and I want them on either side of me.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I got to know why. It's interesting.
Well, it's like somebody with that, it's so intriguing. And there's so many like conspiracy theories about like what happened during that time, like what everyone's intentions were, but like just out of curiosity and somebody with that amount of impact and that can do like that much damage, like what is going on in their, and like I just wanting to understand that. Yeah, and just so intriguing. Like what can take a human to do that? Like what was the actual intention or the justification behind it? Or yeah, it's very intriguing.
When I think even before you get to that part of his life, it's like when he came to power in the way that he saved Germany, just the leadership skills and techniques that he used. But also then you pivot to the second part of his life. It's like use it for bad, but to get a whole nation to follow you and do that, there's some type of skill there.
Yeah.
There's a skill set, no matter if we want to argue or not, but something is there because he was able to tap into the people of Germany.
Yeah. I'm on the same page. It's crazy.
Wow. I think you're the first person that has ever said that.
Let's go. Great minds think alike.
I'll tell you what. Maple Mountain, baby.
Yes, sir.
You know what our nickname was at Maple? Well, his nickname, I didn't play. Brokeback Mountain? Brokeback Mountain, baby.
Your nickname?
That wasn't my nickname.
That was the nickname for the school, Brokeback Mountain.
It's what the other sports teams would chant during our football games and everything.
So, if you were to be remembered for one word, what would that word be?
Stoic.
Okay. Stoic. I like that. Another one I've never said. I firstly want to say thank you for coming on the podcast. Thanks for joining us on Man on the Mic. If this episode brought you value, share it with someone who needs it, and make sure you're subscribed. Man on the Mic is streaming on all platforms, so wherever you listen or watch, you can find us. I'm Jeff Mann. Grateful you're here, and we'll see you on the next episode.